Hey guys, like I've mentioned before, everything in algebra that we do always ends in geometry. So we're not going to expect you to know any grandiose formulas or anything like that. It'll always go back to just the basics, perimeter and area of rectangles and squares and maybe a triangle, area of a triangle, but for sure perimeter is pretty easy. So when you see these geometry problems, you just need to pay attention, close attention to two things. One, what shape are you dealing with? Is it a square? Is it a rectangle? Or is it a triangle? The second thing you want to pay attention to is, what is it asking me for? Is it asking me for the perimeter? Is it asking me for the area, or is it asking me for one side of the shape? So those are the kind of things you want to pay attention to. The actual math isn't that difficult. Usually what messes up most of our students is not really paying close attention to what the question actually is. Now, let's look at this first one here. It says the perimeter of a rectangle. So is 10x plus 2. So that is my perimeter. So obviously it's not going to ask me for that. It is a rectangle. I know that a rectangle looks kind of like that. It has 4 sides. The length, which is the longest side, is 3x plus 5. Now, I'm going to just tell you again, I said this on one of the last geometry videos that I made. Just draw pictures. If you get lost, just draw pictures, and it makes so much more sense if you would just draw pictures. I survived college trigonometry from drawing pictures, and that was my dad who told me that, and he was pretty old at the time. And so if my father, who is pretty old at the time, can tell me to draw pictures to solve hard math problems, then that's probably a pretty good idea. So now, here's what it asks you for, is find the width. So we want to know what the width is. We know what the length is, 3x plus 5. So let's see what we know about a rectangle. I know that this is also going to be 3x plus 5. And so I know that 3x plus 5 and 3x plus 5 will give me part of the perimeter. So let me just go ahead and add that up, because I know that to find the missing side, I need to subtract what I already know. So 3x plus 5, 2 times is 6x plus 10. So I'm going to go ahead and take that away from the total perimeter, and then I'll be left with the width. So I'm going to subtract the whole thing. Now again, watch this when I subtract. If I subtract this whole thing, this positive becomes a negative. So 12 minus 10 is 2. 10 minus 6 is 4x. That is a positive 2. Now, guess what? This isn't the answer to my question, because 4x plus 2 represents the total length of these two sides. Now, I do know that these two sides are exactly the same. So let's just divide what I have, 4x plus 2, 4x plus 2, divide it in half, and then I'll get one of the sides. So that would be 2x plus 1. So it wants the width of the rectangle. So there it is. There's my width. Now I know that was probably like, oh my gosh, but first off, you did this in the 6th grade and the 7th grade, and it's the same thing. So this is probably one of the harder ones for geometry problems here in pre-AP algebra. So that's about as tough as it gets. Let's go look at the next one. Shaded and unshaded. Do you remember that? Okay, look, we have this area of a rectangle is 3x squared plus 8x plus 3. So this whole entire thing is 3x squared plus 8x plus 3. Then each circle has an area of 2x minus 1. 2x minus 1, and there's 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and add these up. Okay, so that's the two circles. Now note the two circles are not shaded. So the question now says, what is the area of the shaded area? So I'm going to take the total area of the rectangle represented by 3x squared plus 8x plus 3, and I'm going to subtract the two circles from it. So that's going to be minus 4x minus 2. Now, remember, I'm lining up like terms. I'm subtracting, so that means that 4x becomes negative 4x and minus 2 becomes a plus 2. So this is 5. And that's a positive 5. This is a positive 4x. And then we have our 3x squared. So the answer to this problem is 3x squared plus 4x plus 5. And so that is about as hard as it gets. The problems that you get, I did like the most difficult one, and I did one that maybe you forgot how to do shaded and unshaded. So take your time on the assignment for today. It's pretty much the same kind of problems. Refer back to these notes as often as possible. And I hope that you work these out in your spiral so that your teacher can see that. And I will see you later. Bye-bye.